I want to ask you all before I start, who benefit from your existence? Who has the advantage because of your presence? I think you all are superheroes to me. You know what I tell educators across this country? Educators should be the highest paid individuals in the country. Why do I feel like educators should be the highest paid individuals in the country? Teaching is the only profession that creates all professions. Let me let that sit. See, it takes a special individual to hear what a kid can't say. I think you all are superheroes. There's no way we should be fighting for a pay raise for you all. Yes, you all are superheroes to me. So never walk into that building like you're insignificant. You all matter. You know who had the biggest role on me in the school? It wasn't the superintendent or the principal, it was a custodian. And it's something about custodians, they know everything that go on in the building too. But I had this one guy who told me, if I find you on that cut slip, I'm coming to find you. Because I hated school. School was never a safe haven for me. School was fear. Every day I walked into a school, I realized that I was incompetent because I couldn't read like other kids. I couldn't understand phonics, sound. The right part of my brain is what I was operating off, right? I couldn't read and write like other kids, so every day I walked in that building, I felt like I was incompetent. But you never know, it takes one individual to see a kid for something that he's not before he becomes it. That's why I love the SPED acronym too. I love special education too, let me just say that. I have to tell people, special education is not a classroom, it's a service. But the S, see them. It's something about when you see a kid. I'm not asking you to look at a kid, but when you see a kid, you see within. You see the possibilities. You see what he could be. The P, providing a space for me to operate in. If I'm good with my hands, just put me in the arena to operate in my gift, and I would do math, I would do science. But the E, the encouraging part, it takes 1 second to tell a kid, you're gonna be amazing today. And that's a lifetime for that kid. And the D, direct them in the way that you want them to go. Let me do that one more time. I love the SPED acronym. S, see them. P, provide for them. E, encourage them. D, direct them. It's something about when you actually see a kid. I'm talking about seeing the able, not the label. Every day you walk in that building, know that you matter. I had a custodian who told me, every day you skip class, I'm coming to find you. He told me I would be amazing every morning. I'm 37 years old and I'm talking about a custodian. Listen to me, there's a difference between success and significance. Success is when you add value to yourself. Significance is when you add value to others. So I ask you again, who benefit from your existence? Who has the advantage every morning because of your presence? I had no one advocating for me. No one advocated on my behalf, so I hated school. Yes, I was kicked out of 10 schools, 7 elementaries, and 3 middle schools. You know who else had the biggest influence on me? It was a cafeteria worker. I'm talking about people that was working for outcome, not income. See, when you come in with that kind of perspective, and I used to think the cafeteria ladies was the meanest women on this planet. They not in here, right? But I had a cafeteria worker who told the principal before you suspend him, can he please come to the cafeteria? Just let him clean up. Just let me mentor to him. Let me give him something. See, she working for outcome, not income. No matter what's your role in the school, anytime you're around a child, it's a teaching moment. Because one day you can look back. You all know you were superheroes. How many times you walk in Walmart and see your previous kids, they just run up to you and say, if it wasn't for you. You all are special. You are a great educator are those who see themselves inside of students that find learning hard. That's how I identify educators. When you put that E on your chest as an educator, you got responsibilities. You got obligations. I had a 6th grade teacher that taught me what this looked like. 37 years old, I'm talking about a 6th grade teacher. It's activation over education for me. You gotta activate, then educate. Because you gotta reach my self-esteem level. If you can't reach my self-esteem level, you can't get me to learn. You gotta get me excited about being in that building. Why? Because I got a defense mechanism. I thought it was smart to be dumb and dumb to be smart. Do you know I got more support in my neighborhood for not being smart? So now let me simplify to the smallest term. I got more support in my neighborhood for not being smart. You know what we call kids in my neighborhood if we found out they were smart? They articulate all their words, they pull their pants up, they straight A students, we call them lame in my neighborhood. You a nerd, you a this, you a that. Now you fight for acceptance. So I won't even wear a book bag to school now. You know how many students I speak to weekly? I almost speak to 5,000 students a week. I speak to almost 1,000 educators. a week. I just left New Jersey. I leave here and go to Rhode Island. I'm around educators and students every day. You know what I tell the young men? You won't even wear a book bag. You're a genius, dude. If you gotta dummy down who you are to go in the room, you're in the wrong room. You won't even show them that you can read and write because you're scared and you're fighting for acceptance. And you think I'm gonna go against the culture? When I got more support, look at the leader in some of those buildings. The kid that come to school to do absolutely nothing, but he got a whole crowd behind him. Now I need you to understand me from my perspective. You can't shift my perspective until you can understand it first. So now you gotta look at the brains of me. Now you gotta understand kids like me that come from situations where I couldn't come home and see mom got a master's, dad got a doctorate. First of all, the expectations in my house was totally different. So I couldn't come from a house where somebody helped me with my homework. My mom and dad's social class wasn't like that. So I need you to understand what I was fighting for every morning that I walked in that building, but understanding me from my perspective. Perspective is an amazing thing. That's what makes me and you different. You see that glass half empty, I see it half full. It's the way we view life. I was just talking to a young lady at a school. I said, ma'am, go to college. I said, everything is in college, go to college. She looked at me and she said, sir, why do I need college? She said, my mom is a bartender, sir. My mom makes $2,000 a week. I said, yeah, you got me then. Because you come from a home like me. Well, we didn't talk about education to them. Now you gotta make it make sense to them. Now you gotta make education make sense to them. Education should be fun. There's no way I should feel like I was sentenced to 12 years in education. Because if I don't want to be in your classroom, if I view life like this, school is not for me. I view your classroom like it's a waste of time. In today's time, first, you got to understand this. We are dealing with a different generation of kids. It's time for different conceptual frameworks. It's time for different theoretical frameworks. Let me make sure I'm in the right room because I'm from Mississippi. You can hear this dialect too. I love Mississippi. I got 6 of you all. But let me make sure I'm in the right room. I came from an environment, they said if somebody hit you to do what? Ooh, I am in the right room. Let me try it. Because I need you to understand me from my perspective now. I came from an environment, they said if somebody hit you to do what? How many of you all, by a show of hands, be very transparent, would allow me to hit you right now? You did absolutely nothing. Not one adult in this building. Now, this is my problem with that. The rule states this. If somebody hits you to walk away from a fight, go tell an adult. And not one adult in this building is willing to do what you're asking me to do every day. Not one adult in this building will hold yourself to the same standard that you hold me to. And research say that a normal male brain is not fully developed till you're 25, 26. Well, I'm 37. I just made it. But I need you to understand me from my core now. And I'm not asking you all to bend the rules because I know why we put rules in place. But I need you to understand you are asking me to do the hardest thing in the world. Matter of fact, you're asking me to do something that you're not even willing to do yourself. Because if I walk away from a fight, you know how many other fights that put me in? You see me from 8 to 3, but I got to go back into an environment. If that environment find out that I'm easy to pick on, do you know how many other fights? I watched this video that went viral. See, I need you to understand me from my perspective. This young kid did exactly what we told him to, walk away from a fight. 3 kids hit him all the way up to the office. The video went viral. He committed suicide. Do you know the peer pressure those kids are under? I was in Canada doing a professional development, and I get a video sent to my phone, and it broke me down. Because I have 2 beautiful daughters, you all, 12 and 8. I don't work for my first name. I work for my last name. Why do you think I work for my last name more than I work for my first name? My daughters got my last name. And one thing I realize is this: when an individual mindset switches from me to we, the driving force is different. When an individual mindset switches from me to we, the driving force is different. That means even as an educator, I don't gotta like you to work with you because it was never about us in the first place. When you put yourself in this arena where you're an advocate for kids, it's not even about you no more. You are dealing with kids like me that sometimes view school like it's a waste of time. But I got this video of this young lady, she left the high school and she went to Interstate 55, and she stood over the overpass just like this. And I heard a lady in the background say, "Ma'am, please don't jump." And I got girls, you all. If I was there, I probably would have given my life for her. I watched this young lady put her legs together and she let go. and it broke me down. Because I said, what gotta happen for you to get to that point? What gotta happen for you to get to that point where you feel like enough is enough? What's gotta happen for you to say that I don't wanna live another day? Do you know what these kids are dealing with? If I was that teacher and you left my classroom, I probably couldn't do this another day. If I was a security guard and I took my job for granted and you left my building, I probably couldn't do this another day. See, I love doing convocations in the beginning of the year because I want every person in that district to understand how much you matter. I don't care about a role. Don't even give me a job title because the job titles put you in a box. Because I understand when you go in that building, sometimes you gotta be everything but the teacher at times, the mom, the pastor, everything you gotta be for that kid to be developed. Education now is almost 90% development, 10% teaching. I know how much you all got. You know what hurts me every time I hear somebody talk about what my educators are not doing? First of all, if you've never been in a school building before, what gives you the audacity? See, that's why I call you all superheroes, because I know the hats you put on every day. And I understand, but now you gotta take ownership in that kid development. See, when that kid leaves your classroom, the next grade level gonna come back and thank you. They're gonna wonder why this kid is reading proficient, why this kid understands his sight words, because they came through you. See, when you take ownership in his development, every day you come in that building, you say, okay, who gets the advantage because of my presence? What do they get when they get you? I remember going into and these kids are geniuses. You know what I tell kids nowadays? You got a smartphone with dumb habits. It's no way I would fail in today's time. You all have made education so easy now. Matter of fact, a 69 is not an F no more. Why you do that when I leave school? See, I feel like I'm kind of old age now. See, everything is electronic to them. See, I come from that overhead projector generation. Oh, it breaks me down every time I see that. I used to watch that teacher come in with that overhead and spray those. Oh no, they get me. Every time she spray that water bottle, I know we taking notes today. I used to hate it. When that light come on, look, my stomach start hurting immediately. Because I know we gotta read. I know we gotta write today, and that's where I struggle. So I hated being there. So if I act up in class, you won't ask me to stand up and read. If I act up in class, you won't ask me to stand up and read. I didn't even know that I was a genius. I didn't even know that I had this until I met my 6th grade teacher. Every day she differentiated from any other instructor I've ever seen. Every morning she told me, you're gonna be amazing today. I'm like, wait a minute, no I'm not. Every day she get to the board, she'll say, can anybody come to the board? No, my star student, Tommie, come on up. And I'm like, who's she gonna do this every morning? But when I get back home, I'm gonna fight for her. You know why? Because when kids know that you really care, I dare somebody to come in. When you build a rapport with that one student, I dare somebody to come in your classroom and disrespect you while Tommie there. Because when they see that rapport that you got with that kid, I told you, you gotta see me. You wanted me to tell you what you gotta do, put them in a leadership role. Because if you ignore me in your classroom, it's okay, I'm gonna show back up in the data at the end of the year. Because my job is to provoke. If I get you off task, you're gonna get her off task. Now it looks like it's the teacher's fault, and I separate myself from what makes me different. So if I can't read on the level that other kids are reading on, all I gotta do is provoke everybody around me. Now the attention is not on me. I told you my defense was, if I bully kids, if I pick on kids, if I act up in class, she'll never ask me to stand up and read, but my 6th grade teacher called my bluff every day. Because she see me. She told me, you got it, that's my star student. Listen, I know how it can become, oh, you can't treat kids like that. We try to make it like all kids are the same, and they're not. See, when I go to my daughter IEP meetings, when I look at the plans and the goals, the first thing I tell the instructor, I tell her, the principal, anybody, just put something in place for my daughter. My daughter is a genius. Don't look, see the able, not the label. When I look at her plans and her goals in that IEP, I told one of the principals, I said, just make it make sense for her. Give her a task to work towards. They on the color code at my daughter's school. I said, if my daughter come on green for 5 days straight, allow her to do the morning or the afternoon announcements. You should see my daughter on Wednesdays. She get in the car, Dad, I'm 2 days away. Because it's intrinsic for her, right? You giving her something to work for. Every day she's coming with a task in front of her. And my daughter, man, she moved off words of affirmation. The redirections, walk by her desk and say, keep going, stay on task. That's a lifetime for my daughter. But that's when you understand the kids from their perspective. You understand. See, there's a difference between mindset and perspective. Mindset's altered by your mood. So when you tell people, look, you need to shift your mindset, get your mind, but that alters by my mood. Today I feel like working out, tomorrow I don't. Today I've been motivated, then it leaves tomorrow. Let me give you an example. When the principal is trying to build a morale in the school around test taking, what he usually would do, a pep rally to get the kids engaged? Well, what happens 2 weeks later? They revert right back. Why? Because you never reached this perspective. Perspective is outcomes, morals, beliefs, values, lived experiences. So when you learn how to shift this perspective and see the able, not the label, my 6th grade teacher did something so small with me. When I say she see me, she put me in a leadership role, something so small, but greatness is small things done well. She would say, Tommie, when I leave school today, when class today, can you take names? Yes, I turned to a snitch immediately. I'm going against the culture. I'm telling no kids that didn't do anything. I'm just quiet. Because you put me in a leadership role. When she needs somebody to run to the office, she'll say, Tommie, can you come back? She's like, now that I'm old enough, I know she was running reverse psychology on me the whole time. She said, Tommie, I know you coming right back. Usually I take that hall pass and I'm going home with it. But for her, I'm bringing it right back. You know what other teachers used to tell her? Why he don't do that in my class? You baiting in him. No, she understands. She understands that she can't get me engaged. She understands that there's a difference between your more challenging kids and your model students. I don't even like calling them at risk because I feel like everybody's at risk for something without the right support. So she understood me from my perspective. These kids are geniuses. But we are dealing with a different generation of kids. Let me try it again. You know we are dealing with a different generation of kids. It can be 100 degrees outside and they got on what? It can be 3 degrees outside and they got on what? Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the right one. But now dissect me. Now let's simplify. It's a difference between male and female. Let me make the correlation. If something affects you, you call her and you put her on 3-way. You all have this sister group and meditate together and do yoga. It's my brother Quincy. Like, I call Quincy, but watch this. Let me do it with a male. Let me call Quincy and I'll be like, hey man, boy, I was crying today. You hear it? I can't even do that in here, and this is supposed to be a safe haven. You wonder why we don't seek therapy as men? I tried it in here and it didn't work. Because I told another man that I'm struggling, I told another man that I was crying today, I told another man, so you allow me to not vent? See, that's how I had to grow up. I didn't get permission to vent. I didn't get permission to cry. I didn't even know that I could cry. I didn't even know I had tears. Why? Because Dad said you leave with those shoes, you come back with those shoes. Never let them see you weak. Stand up straight. Don't show them your tears. That is dehumanization. Now I can't tell another man in that school that I'm struggling, even as an adult. You wonder why I don't seek therapy now? You're not looking at a finished product right now. Yes, I got a PhD now, but you're looking at adversity at its best. You're looking at somebody who still go through it now. Why? Because her children grow up to be suffering adults. Because now you got young men that's going through that building don't even know that I can tell another man that I'm struggling, and I won't come to you as my teacher and give you my problems. Because I just tried it in here and it was laughed at. Her children grow up to be suffering adults, but understanding males, understanding the male brain. I remember going into this school, doing a professional development. I walked through the school, the metal detector, and it went off. The kid behind me had something in his bag. They grabbed his bag. Watch this, I need you to understand me from my perspective now, right? When they checked his bag, this kid had a bag full of candy. The principal said, sir, you can't bring this bag in the school. The kid said, sir, I need that bag back. 3 more tries. They played tug of war with the bag. The kid said, sir, I need that bag back. And he started getting aggressive. And I'm looking at his face and I said, ooh, I know that face. I've seen that face before. I know what that looked like. When they didn't give it to him, he broke the metal detector with his bare hands. Not your tier 1, your tier 2. Listen, he broke the metal detector with his bare hands. The principal said, get him out of here, he's suspended. He said, security, get him out of here. And I said, no, you all stop. And I broke him down. I said, look, man, what does that candy mean to you? He said, you wouldn't understand in a million years what that candy means to me. I said, sir, I get it, but apparently they don't. The principal said, no, he gotta go. I said, no, I told you all to stop. He said, just listen to the kid. And what came out of his mouth, you all shifted the whole room. He said, if I don't bring that profit home, I don't make rent. And it broke me down because I'm not easy to convince. You mean to tell me you can tell me that and expect me to believe it? We called mom. Mom validated everything this kid said from the top to the bottom. She told me, sir, he the man of the house. I said, ma'am, how dare you? She said, and I understood where she's coming from. She said, he's the oldest of 4. I said, ma'am, this young man is 6th grade. I said, this kid is 6th grade and he coming to work just like everybody else. Now you wonder why it's hard for me to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This kid is coming to work from his perspective. He's not coming, he's not even activated on that level. When you're dealing with kids that got ACEs and trauma, adverse childhood experiences and all these things going, listen, you think this kid should know right from wrong, but is he thinking cognitively? This kid, you really want to help kids, take them out of survival mode. Do you know what I would do in survival mode at any means necessary? And you wonder why it's hard to engage me? Because you haven't checked my core yet. So now I ask you this, do you know enough about me to teach me? And if you don't know enough about me to teach me, how can you fully teach what you don't know? I was so angry, this kid looked at me and said, sir, I make $20 a day. He said, at the end of the week, that's $100. At the end of the month, that's $400. He said, sir, my mom is on food stamps. My mom get her EBT card and she the candy lady in the neighborhood. And what she doesn't sell, I bring her to school, and that's my portion of the rent. I looked at him, I said, you are the man of the house. But I looked at the principal, I said, did you know that situation? He said, I had no clue, but I could see a tear coming down. I said, that's a problem, sir. I went to the assistant principal, I said, ma'am, you were on duty also. Did you know that situation? She looked at me, she said, no, sir, I had no clue. That's a problem, ma'am, because you all are getting ready to send him back into an environment. If a kid comes from high socioeconomics or low socioeconomics, it has nothing to do with the kid. If my kid is late for school, it has nothing to do with the kid. That's my fault. I was so angry, and on the way out the building, I saw Abraham Maslow, so I had to break them down. I said, listen, that quote is a little different. Abraham Maslow stated this: the longer a person go unfed, the hungrier that person get, until a need is fulfilled that a kid can't operate on a certain capacity. That's not me, that's theory. Until you reach the special needs of a kid. So I'm telling them, how dare you have that on your wall? That was your moment. That was your moment. You gotta sometimes go outside of what the education looked like and cater